magical star beings, this is Psychic Siren Tara and welcome to the channel. In today's reading we're going to be taking a look at what about you makes people curious, as well as what they're curious about you. Okay, so I'm now going to show you crystals, but before I do, please be aware this is a general reading to only take what resonates and leave the rest, as the messages may differ for everyone watching. So for pile number 1, we have appetite, for pile number 2, we have amazonite, and for pile number 3, we have amethyst. I'm going to give you a few seconds to pick a pile. Pick whichever pile you're most drawn to. If you're drawn to more than one pile, you can pick 2 or all of them. Your intuition will always know best. You can also pause the video if you need more time, and if you're done picking a pile, please find the timestamps for your pile in the description box below, and then I will see you at your reading. Hi there, my pile number 1s. If you chose this appetite crystal, this reading is for you. We're going to be taking a look at what about you makes people curious and what do they get curious about. Okay, so you chose the card Re-Energize. I'm going to go ahead and add your cards, but before I do, please note that this is a general reading to only take what resonates and leave the rest. Okay, so for your cards, we have Healing, we have Acceptance, we have Miracles, and lastly for your oracle cards we have Abundance. Okay, and now for your tarot cards we have the Knight of Cups, we have the 5 of Pentacles, we have the Lovers, we have the 6 of Cups, and lastly we have the Chariot. Okay, my pile number 1s, now that we have your cards laid out, I see exactly what about you makes people curious, as well as what they kind of get curious about you. Okay, so first of all, like while I'm tapping into this energy, I'm feeling a lot of anxiety, and I don't know who it's specifically coming from. It could be coming from you in the past, or it could be coming from people from your past, because we have the 6 of Cups here. So perhaps if it's not you or your past energies I'm picking up on, then perhaps it's people from your past that are now kind of looking into your life, seeing how you're doing, kind of getting nervous and anxious, like I heard I can't think straight, at the fact that you are moving on in some type of way, shape or form. I'm not sure who this is from your past. For some of you, you know, it's friendships. For some of you, it's family members. For some of you, it's ex-lovers. I'm not quite sure exactly who it is, but just, you know, take it as it resonates. But I do see people from your past being really curious about you with the 6 of Cups, as well as people that are in your circle with the Healing card, as we see, you know, a bunch of friends holding hands here, or family members, or people that have met you, that have seen you on your healing journey, where you've spoken about it, like acquaintances. Okay, so that is kind of who I see about who is curious about you the most. I'm also picking up on like strangers that have just met you and kind of seen your life, or just people from your past, like from school, from college, university, um, colleagues that you no longer work with. I don't know. That's the feeling I'm getting, like, as well. Like people from your past looking at your life right now and how you've moved forward. So just take the messages as they resonate, my pal number ones. So I wasn't going to say who's curious about you, but I see it very clearly in the card. So I'm just going to honor that message. I'm not going to go too much in details about that because I think the reading's more focused on what about you makes people curious and what they get curious about. So I'm seeing here with the re-energized card, this is a card, the only card like of all the oracle cards here, that she's in the dark sea. So I see this as like your past energies, and even the crystal you chose, when I bought it at the store, it was kind of broken here and I didn't realize, but the whole stone is still intact, even though it has a little crack here. It's not broken, it has a little crack here. And it's a blue, dark blue stone, but it's so pretty, you know what I mean? And even though it has a little crack in it, it adds a kind of story to this crystal, you get what I mean? It adds a story of value and beauty to it. Even here on the side there's a little crack, but I take it as something good. That means the crystal has a story to it. It has some type of meaning to it. You get what I mean? So I see this as in the past, perhaps people saw you as broken. Because I said broken by mistake, but then I took back that word because you're not broken, my pal number ones, at all. Perhaps they cracked you or dented you a little bit in the past, people from your past, and they were hoping you would crack and break, but you haven't. You have some marks on you, some scars, some battle scars, battle wounds on you in your heart, but that hasn't broken you. So I think that is what they get curious about, how you haven't broken from whatever made you feel almost cracked your heart, you know what I mean? So it doesn't necessarily have to be a physical breakup that could have hurt you. It could have been family from your past, people from your past, like, you know, I mentioned school, perhaps bullies from your past that are looking at your life now and how you've changed in your life with the Chariot, how you've leveled up and moved forward in your life and you're no longer holding on to that, and they wonder how you haven't broken. It could be family from the past that you've cut off and now you have a new kind of family that you've created. Like some of you are married and have a new family, or, you know, you consider your friends your new family, or, you know, you have a new kind of support group is something I see in your cards. Or it could be the feeling of like ex-lovers that try to hurt you or break you in any way, and now you're in a new connection with the Lovers card. It could be friends from the past that tried to hurt you or break you by something they said or did, and now you have new friends that are your support group and love you dearly. So that is the feeling I get here. Or perhaps that's what they're curious about. Like, if you don't have a new lover and this is an ex-lover from the past, I just bit my tongue. So perhaps for some of you, if it is a situation like that, or friends from the past and they're wondering if you have new friends, they're curious about if you have new friends, if you have new lovers, and that is what they're curious about, but they're almost too scared to talk to you because I bit my tongue. And it's kind of stressing them, making them anxious, not knowing. Perhaps you're someone that is quite, I wouldn't say mysterious, but you know, you've taken a step back and you are healing and you're re-energizing yourself, focusing on you. So there's this feeling of them trying to look in on you, but you not, like, they're showing me social media. Perhaps that's the only way these people can kind of see where you are in your life. Perhaps it's on social media where they're like curious if you have a new friend, if you have new friendships, if you have new lovers. And the kind of mystery of not knowing makes them even more anxious because they don't know if they can talk to you, if you're going to reject them, if you're... But that's a feeling I get here. So, like, from people from your past about what they're kind of curious about. And, you know, we have starfishes here. We have a starfish here in the miracle card. And we have small little starfish here. I love the starfish meaning, especially along with your cards and what we've already been speaking about. So, I'm hearing some of you went through a dark night of the soul, with this card being the card where she's under the deep, deep, deep sea ocean and it's dark. And here we've emerged to the light. After this card, there's light coming down. It looks kind of rainbowy. So, like, I take this as the message of the rainbow after the storm. Or perhaps some of you were in just dark, dark, dark moments in your past. Very heavy moments, heavy, dark moments of your emotions. And you were deep within that. You didn't know how you were going to find a way out of that. And they thought that you wouldn't find a way out of that either. I'm kind of getting a shady vibe from the people from the past. You know what I mean? Because Spirit is showing me Alice in Wonderland and the cat grinning. But you know when the cat grins in Alice in Wonderland and it turns into a moon? The teeth are kind of like creepy. And as I said, like, they thought they were going to break you. I saw that. So perhaps they were secretly wishing for you to break from this. And they would have smiled and laughed at you behind your back because of this. But since we have the starfish showing up in both cards here, I see this as you being like the starfish. The starfish meaning is, you know, you can take a starfish and cut off its leg or cut off its... I don't know if it's called a leg. Its body part, you know what I mean? But it will grow back. The starfish is a symbol for regeneration and healing. So I see this as they tried to cut off your leg, but it grew back. And now they're curious, how did this leg grow back? How did they grow back their leg? How did they heal their heart and put their pieces back of their heart together? And now it's back to... it's healed in a sense where there may be a little bit of marks or damages on it, but it's not broken. You get what I mean? Your heart. So there's this feeling of the people from your past being curious as to how you've healed and how you haven't broken, but also people in your life that know you now, that have seen how much you've healed, but they can't understand how... Not that they wanted it to break you, but they can't understand how you were in such a dark, dark, dark piece of your life in your emotions, you know what I mean? How you re-energized yourself, how you healed yourself, and how you came back to the surface of your emotions. So I see this as like you're in the deep sea of your emotions here. And we have, it looks like one of those creatures that are on the bottom of the ocean. I forgot what they're called here in the corner. Just want to see on Google. So I see this as like the dark depths of your emotions. Really heavy emotions, and then coming to the shore. Spirit is almost showing me, I think it's aquamarine, where she's in that tank, like that water tank, and the water is high, but then it goes lower. Or like, let's say you're in a swimming pool and the water is high. Or like a house that is flooded with water and the water is high, but then it's gone lower again. And now we can go back to the surface and we're not struggling against those emotions. So I see the water as a representation for the emotions, almost like feeling like they're drowning us in the past. You know what I mean? And now we've come back to the shore. The water has risen down. So that means, you've released and purged a lot of the wounds and emotions that were there before. Okay. Okay, so I googled the what it is because I forgot the name of this kind of fish. It reminds me of those flat fishes that are on the bottom of the ocean by the sand, if you know what I'm talking about. It's called the short-tailed stingray. So it says here the entire species acquired the undeserved reputation of killers. The animals typically use their dagger-like tail spines for protection against predators like sharks or killer whales. So I'm gonna take that as I read this message. I also want to see the spiritual meaning of it. But since I saw it in the background and it was kind of like hidden in the background, and it says it's used for protection against it, perhaps, how it also said it was seen as something worse than it was, and it's just protecting itself against sharks, you know what I mean? Then perhaps these people from your past try to ruin your reputation in some way by making you seem like the bad guy, when actually you were just protecting yourself from them, is something I'm seeing. Okay, but also I see it as like, since it was hidden in the background, you were protected during your lowest, darkest moments, but perhaps it was kind of hidden around you by spirit. You get what I mean? Stingray's spiritual meaning, let's see. It symbolizes maneuverability. There will be many different paths in life that you will need to take, and you need to make the journey worthwhile. The stingray meanings speaks about sensitivity, and the need to blend into your environment creates peace and harmony. So perhaps in the past you had to kind of blend into your environment to almost survive, but now you're coming to the surface and you're letting yourself be you as well. So perhaps friends or family or ex-lovers or whoever these people were from the past stifled your self-expression in some type of way, and now you had to take a different path where you could fully let yourself emerge. And that's also what they're curious about. So everything I'm speaking about now is like the things people are curious about from your past, but also people that you know now. Like they're curious as to how you've re-emerged your self, how you've taken a different path in life from the old one where you were stuck in that kind of dark, I'm hearing web of lies, or just dark time of your life. You get what I mean? Yeah, so that is kind of like what people are curious about, how you've re-energized yourself, how you've healed yourself from these dark moments in your life. Come to the surface of your healing journey. I'm hearing the song, I think it's by Kanye West, and it's like, I'm free, free. So Spirit is kind of joking how you've made yourself become free, how you found these rainbows after the storm. That's what about you makes people curious. How you found those rainbows after the storm. And, people as well that you've spoken about your healing journey with, they get curious as to how you changed that path and how you maneuvered out of that, how you re-energized and healed yourself to become free in your spirit, in your emotions, how you found, the rainbow after the storm. They're also curious as to how you didn't break in these moments of suffering, I'm hearing, and how you found, with the abundance card, I see this as how you found the richness in your soul, the gold, the diamonds in your soul, because I said parts of yourself are now re-emerging. Parts that were once stifled, that you felt like you couldn't express, are now re-emerging, and you're accepting yourself, but also accepting your past, and moving towards something different, a different path in life that is much brighter. And they are curious as to how you've done this, how you've accepted and let go of the past, or at least let go of that chapter in order to move forward. Perhaps some of you are still in the process of fully accepting and letting go of it, but also how you didn't break from it and how you healed from it, how you found the light again, how you found the colors of life again after being in darkness. You know what I mean? Your whole life, but now you've gone to a different journey, and people just wonder how you did that, how you found miracles in your life to do that. But I see the kind of message here as to why they can't understand this is because you were protected all along, but it was hidden. So now you're in your healing phase. Miracles have taken place in your life to allow you to go to a new journey. And you see here this mermaid is holding its arms out. I see this as you being able to, right now or in the future after you've healed enough, being able to forgive those from your past that have hurt you. Being able to also say to them, you know, I forgive you, I accept your apology, I don't hold any feelings of remorse towards you. I don't know if you'll be accepting them back in your life with open arms if they've hurt you, because I feel like some part of your self-worth is going to tell you, no, I just need to forgive them but not let them back in my life. But take it as it resonates, because of course the choice is yours. But I feel here the energy of like you coming to a place of forgiveness, coming to a miracle of healing and regenerating yourself to newness, to openness, open to also new experiences, and not being afraid of life, love, new experiences, the beauty of life that you will now see. Because you were once in the dark, deep oceans, and now you've come to the surface and you can see the light. You can see the colors of life again. And you've healed and you found the miracles of life, and now you're open to new miracles and open to new experiences in life. And that is what they can't understand. That's what they're curious about, how you found this. But the key here is you were protected all along. They just didn't know. But also the key here is you saw and became aware that you were in that dark place. You healed yourself, you re-emerged to the surface of your emotions after releasing it, purging it. Helped yourself become free by accepting the situation and moving to the next journey of your life, planting new flowers in the next journey of your life of love and miracles and acceptance for the past, but this kind of like hope for the future. And the funny thing is I said hope. Hope is the next pile. So perhaps next pile is a continuation of your journey if you're also drawn to pile 2. I don't know why I said hope, but interesting because spoiler alert, pile 2 is kind of similar to pile 1. Because I, pull the cards before. I first pull the main cards I'm going to use the crystals, and then I pull cards after. So I prepare in advance. So I know sometimes like what's going to be like the rough idea of the pile before I put the cards on the table. So there's this feeling here of like, if you're drawn to pile 2, perhaps there's a continuation here. If you were drawn. If not, that's also okay. But I see this as you being free. They can't understand, and they're curious as to how you've done this for yourself. How you've become free. How you've become open to new experiences. And it's not just people from your past, but also people that are currently on their healing journey that are inspired by you. because there's this feeling of them seeing you and how you've healed, and you being ready to open your arms to them and help them get through these tough moments of their life, help them find acceptance for their journey, help them find the diamonds and the treasures to their soul, and let that shine out in a way, because perhaps once you were told those diamonds in your soul aren't shiny enough, you know what I mean, but they are. They're gorgeous, you know what I mean? And I feel like you almost hold open arms to those that are on similar journeys, healing, to help guide them through that as well, for some of you. Or you're just really open to speaking about this, you know, and people that are on a similar healing journey kind of look up to you in inspiration, and they're curious about these things as well. But I also see it like people are curious as to how you're still open to new experiences, how you found the treasures and diamonds to your soul and let that shine out, and how you found your self-worth again after your heart being broken, how you found love again after your heart being broken, and how you're open to that. So there's this feeling of people looking into your life, wondering how you've healed, how you found these miracles, how you've let these diamonds shine out of your soul, found your self-worth, put that crown back on your head, and maneuvered to a new journey full of love, full of awakenings, full of positivity, full of color, okay, full of miracles. And love is something I see. So, you know, these two mermaids have green tails. Green is the color of the heart chakra, so I see this as heart healing, and then yellow here, like a golden yellow. I see that as like the solar plexus, our self-worth, our confidence, our creativity, but it's also the part of us that shines out. So this is you finding your self-worth, putting that crown back on your head, and people wonder how you did that. I'm also noticing in both cards here we have pearls. So pearls, I just want to see the spiritual meaning. They're a gemstone of inner wisdom, and they have a huge healing energy. So same thing, like how you found this wisdom to heal. That's also what they're curious about you. I also feel people being curious about if you have a new lover, if you have new friendships, how you found, you know, these good friendships after being in the space of darkness, or being around people that kept you in the dark, if that makes sense. How you found that after that, or if you have found that after that, and how you were patient enough to sit with the emotions, heal them, and not let them break you. How you found the light again of life. How you were patient enough to perhaps even ask for help. So I see some of you asking for support from loved ones that you trusted, and how you were courageous enough to ask for that help, or ask for help in terms of perhaps getting a psychologist, you know, to help you through your emotions in some way, or ask for support, for light, from your spirit team or people around you. People are also curious as to how you've managed to stay gentle and stay pure-hearted and kind-hearted even after being hurt. People are curious as to why you are so charming still, why you are still open to love and open to making loving choices, because it's like you don't make the same choices that they did in your past, the people that have hurt you. You make choices with love, and people wonder how you've come to that even after being hurt. How you've become such a nurturing person even though you were never nurtured. But now you are being nurtured by your support group, or you're about to, or that's what they're wondering, who's in your circle right now and how these people are kind of nurturing you. People are also wondering how you've come to find love again, or if you are in a new relationship, or perhaps you are going to be in the future. And I see this as a committed relationship because we see a couple getting married. You know what I mean? How you've been able to let go of the past and move forward in your life with the Chariot card. Find your own power back, find your own strength back, is something I see within your cards. That's what people get curious about, how you found passion to life again, how you found the courage to heal, to ask for help, to open yourself up to love again and trust again after being once hurt. So people are really curious about these specific things, and like I feel like they're really, really curious about it. Like they try to search for answers as to how you have done this. And that is kind of what I'm seeing in your reading, my pile number ones. You've opened your heart again, and that's kind of what they're curious about, how you've done that. So that is what I see in your reading, my pile number ones. I really hope that this reading resonated. If it did, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I can't wait to see you in my next reading. Bye! Quick note before I end off, I'm ending at 9:19, so I see this as like almost like an end of a cycle and a new beginning, because 9:19, 9 is endings and 1 is new beginnings. Okay, bye! Hi there, my pile number twos. If you picked this Amazonite crystal, this reading is for you. We're going to be taking a look at what about you makes people curious and what do they get curious about. So you chose the card Hope. I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of your cards, but before I do, please note this is a general reading to only take what resonates and leave the rest, as the messages may differ for everyone watching. Okay, and before I add the rest of your cards, some of you may be from pile number 1 because this pile has a similar energy, or it's kind of a continuation of pile number 1 if you were drawn to that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add the cards now for you. Okay, so for your cards we have Move Forward, we have Positivity, we have Be Spontaneous, we have Blessings, we have the Eight of Swords, we have the Hermit, we have the Star, we have the Four of Cups, and lastly we have the Ace of Cups. Okay, my pile number twos, now that we have your cards laid out, I see exactly what about you people get curious by, as well as what they get curious about. Okay, so I'm seeing here the energies, and I'm hearing from Spirit that if you weren't from pile number 1, because the energies are so similar, I'm even seeing similar messages in your pile. But I'm going to try to make this just your pile and just tell you what I said in pile number 1. However, if you are not from pile number 1, this could be your current energies, and pile number 1 could have been your past energies. And I'm hearing from Spirit, if you are from pile number 1 and you're watching pile number 2 as a continuation, this is perhaps now to the future energies, if that makes sense. So depending on where you're from, take it like that. That's what I'm hearing from Spirit. So I'll tell you what I saw in pile number 1 so you just understand a little bit more. I basically said to them that I saw people from their past being curious about them, how they've healed, but also people in their current life right now, how they've healed, how they never let that thing break them that was supposed to break them, how they kind of re-emerged to freedom, and I'm seeing the same message in your cards. Okay, so that's the kind of message I saw for them, but I'm seeing a continuation or not a continuation. How do I put this in words? I'm seeing the same energy, but in a different way or a different light, where it's further towards the freedom, if that makes sense. So that's why I heard like, if you are from pile number 1, this is now to the future energies, and if you aren't from pile number 1 was your past energies, and now we're moving towards now. You know what I mean? Okay, so what I see in your cards, the hope card here and the move forward card, how she's sitting on the rock and how we have King Triton here kind of reminds me of the story of the Little Mermaid. So I'm just going to reference the story of the Little Mermaid, and the kind of scene I'm seeing. So basically in the Little Mermaid, if you remember, she wanted to go to the other world, and then, you know, like as she's sitting on this rock, it's giving me the vision of that song she sings, "Wish I Could Be Part of Your World," while she's sitting on the rock. It's giving me that kind of nostalgic kind of energy. And the King Triton kind of just looks like him, so it's reminding me of the Little Mermaid. And the story of the Little Mermaid is basically she wants to be a part of another world, and basically she's just very curious and interested about the human world. And I feel like this is you in a sense. And in pile number 1, I noticed a symbol there that said moving to another path. So if pile number 1 was your past, then I see this as now you have emerged from the mermaid realm to the human realm. So I see that as like you going from one realm to a different realm, one path to a different path, if that makes sense. It doesn't necessarily mean legit human realm, mermaid realm, but like the kind of energy of you on one path in the beginning. And I said to pile number 1, they were in a dark deep sea, and they couldn't get out of it, and then they went to the surface, the shore, where there was light emerging, and here we even see rainbows coming from the clouds. So I see that kind of energy for you as well, but you're already in the different world, if that makes sense. You're in the different path already. And I see the kind of energy of like, you know how Ariel wanted to kind of go to the new world, but then her dad was King Triton. Her dad was kind of, in my opinion, a little bit controlling over her, and a little bit he didn't allow her to be her true self, because if I remember correctly, if I'm wrong you can correct me in the comments, but if I remember correctly, they weren't allowed to sing, and she loved to sing. And her dad was kind of volatile, in my opinion, from just looking at him and like how he acted and how he got so angry and everything. In my opinion, he was kind of volatile, and I'm kind of seeing the energy of family for you guys, and like how you've healed your inner child. So for some of you, like you've moved away from family, and you've created a different world for yourself, a different path for yourself, where you are now healing your inner child. Whereas some of you, you've moved away from like a really long-term connection, or just an environment I'm hearing that was toxic of some kind, that didn't allow you to be your true self, to let you express yourself. And I said to pile number one, after they weren't allowed to express themselves, same scenario, they found the treasures within them, within their soul, and let the treasures in their soul kind of shine out. So I see the same message for you. However, in order for Ariel to go to the human realm, she went to Ursula and she had to sacrifice something, her voice. So perhaps there was some kind of sacrifice you had to make in order to move to this next path. Perhaps you had to sacrifice, almost like letting go of a part of yourself, if that makes sense, that old part of yourself, in order to heal, in order to move to the next path. Okay, the voice can also mean, along with the Eight of Swords description, the Eight of Swords talks about being stuck. You could have been in an environment, family, or I'm hearing some of you, it's like ex-lovers or ex-marriages or things like that were toxic, or just environments or family that were toxic that you moved away from, and you were stuck in that environment. You couldn't be your true self. You were kind of a shell of a person there, and now your true self is emerging and being free, if that makes sense. Because here in the Hope card, we even see her covering herself in shame. And here she's letting her arms out. She's open to energies. You get what I mean? So I see this as like, once you were feeling stuck, your voice was taken away, or your ability to express yourself and be your true self was kind of taken away from you, and you had to hide away in shame at first when you first started healing. And now towards the future energies, you're open to newness. You're open and free is something I'm feeling. You're a free spirit now. Nothing is holding you down anymore. You may have still like remnants of that anxiety or trauma. I'm hearing. I just said healing by mistake. Trauma, you're healing, okay? But I feel like you're a free spirit now. And I see the story here like, you had to sacrifice that old part of yourself and let go of that old part of yourself in order to be free, and in order to kind of be this free version of yourself that nothing is holding down. Perhaps you had to let go of old beliefs, old limited things in your mind that kept you limited to one thing, or trauma responses, etc., etc. And now you have become free, and you're still becoming free, if that makes sense. You're healing because it's opposite the star. And the star also talks about shining out. So now you're letting yourself shine out, and you're letting yourself kind of be seen like a star, letting yourself be admired, appreciated, and putting the crown back on your head, as I said in pile number one as well, taking back your power, because he's holding this I forgot what it's called, but this thing, it has an immense power, magical power. So you've found your own magic within your soul, the treasures within your soul. And the octopus here kind of reminds me of a dream my friend had the other day, where an octopus was stuck to her foot and sucking, the life out of her. And I take this as like, perhaps the environment sucked the life out of you, but now you've taken that octopus off and thrown it on the floor, found your power, put that crown back on your head, and now you're free. That kind of energy. So if you remember Ariel's story, she kind of found love after that, and then the whole shenanigans went on. I'm not going to get too much into the story, but I feel like the story of finding a different path and sacrificing an old part of yourself to let this new part of yourself, the diamonds in your soul, re-emerge, and shine out. The parts of your soul that are meant to shine out and meant to be expressed, you're now free. And that is what people are curious about. That is what makes people curious about you, because they've seen your past, they've seen the old path you were on, and now you're in a new path, and they just can't understand how you've done this. They don't understand how you let go of that old part of yourself, how you healed. And later on, after I picked the crystals for your piles, I first picked the crystals, the cards, and then after that, I researched what this Amazonite means. It actually goes perfectly well with your actual cards and like the meaning of your cards. So I'll tell you what it means now. It's Amazonite is used to treat fatigue, trauma, or anything else that may take energy away from a person. It has a gentle healing quality that is useful to nearly anyone in a general manner. So I take this as, it's even said to help problems with thyroid glands. The thyroid is by our throat, and we spoke about Ariel. Is that not a synchronicity? So I take this as like you're healing that trauma. You're allowing your true self to emerge and shine out, and people can't understand why. But you're also taking back your power by taking back your voice, healing your voice, and allowing yourself to speak up. You may have been people pleasers in the past, or people that were scared of confrontation or scared of speaking up for yourself, and now you're allowing your voice to come out. So unlike Ariel had to sacrifice her voice, but you've taken your voice back and taken your power back, but you've sacrificed the old version of you, if that makes sense. And you're now healing this trauma and healing that fatigue. You know, like after you heal from trauma, you feel very fatigued because your body was in fight or flight mode for a very long time. I've experienced this too. And I feel like you're healing that fatigue, healing that shame as we see her covering up here, and letting that version of you that deserves to shine come out. Those people from your past may have told you those versions of you were wrong in some way, that you couldn't let them emerge, but now you're being free. You're freeing your soul, you're healing your soul, and you're letting those parts of you shine out and stand out and be admired and recognized. Okay, and that is what people are curious about, why people are curious about you. They can't understand how you let go of the anxiety, the shame, how you find hope again for this new path, how you actually found this new path and kind of took that octopus off your leg that was sucking the life out of you. Metaphor for a person that was sucking the life out of you, or an environment. Taken back your power, put the crown back on your head, found your self-worth, and let the parts of you re-emerge and shine out, and found your voice again, and how you've become a free spirit. They can't understand how you looked within and healed this within yourself, how you found hope, how you found miracles, because the star is also a card of hope and miracles. Okay, so I'm also hearing wisdom. The wisdom you've taken from it. They can't understand where you got that wisdom. Sometimes people don't see this deeper part of your pain, but you're so wise, and they don't understand how you're so wise, and it comes from this, if that makes sense. People also don't understand how you're so free. They're curious about how you're so free right now, and perhaps people from your past that didn't know your story, like let's say people from school, people from college, like are looking at you now, and they're seeing you become a more free version of yourself, but they didn't know what happened to you, and they're curious as to why or how you've become like this re-emerged star version of yourself that is standing out. And you know, we have the star card here and the starfish on both cards. Here the starfish is in her hair, and here the starfish is on her little bralette by her heart. So the starfish is a symbol of regeneration, because if you cut a starfish's leg off, it will grow back. So I see this as like people from your past, or just people in general, not understanding how you never broke from that, how you regenerated and healed yourself, healed your heart, since it's on her heart. And here she's covering that area. How you've healed the shame and let yourself stand out and be free. I'm also noticing here she has a little pearl that kind of reminds me of like a crystal ball, but she's covering it, not letting us see what she's seeing. So perhaps people are also curious, like I said, how you got that wisdom to get out of those situations and heal and let that true self of you emerge. It's kind of reminding me of like that song from Fleetwood Mac, I keep my visions to myself. So perhaps some of you are quite mysterious when it comes to that journey of yours. You keep it to yourself until you're ready to tell people about it, or perhaps you keep your visions for the future to yourself, what you're going to do in the future, how you're going to shine in the future, how you're going to get recognition in the future. That's the feeling I get here. So people are also curious as to how you've become positive, how you've become happy, how you found peace with the Four of Cups. From once going to a person like this to a person like this. Person that was once anxious and hid themselves is now re-emerging and shining and peaceful and no longer anxious, no longer stuck in situations that kept them stuck. People are curious as to how you've done this. They don't understand how you found peace and found yourself and let those diamonds in your soul shine out. How you found happiness and positivity. And even here, her hair is kind of roaming free. It's not like in one place. You've become a wild spirit, a free spirit, and people are curious as to how that's happened. And I even bit my tongue as I said that. So perhaps I feel the feeling of like people want to ask, but they don't want to be rude. You get what I mean? They want to ask, but they stop themselves before it happens. Even here, like she's smiling. Here she's not smiling. You get what I mean? And there's rainbows here. The rainbow after the storm, how you found that. They're curious about that. Okay, also here she's wearing a pink tail. I see this as self-love. Because pink to me is love and beauty as well. And here we have a pearl. She's sitting inside the pearl in the Be Spontaneous card. It's like a clamshell. I mean, so I see these kind of shells as like, they remind me of Aphrodite. Perhaps some of you have gotten more beautiful, like Aphrodite, because Aphrodite is the goddess of beauty. Not beautiful like Aphrodite, let me correct myself there, but almost like you've been blessed by Aphrodite. So I see this as like you've been blessed by Aphrodite. Maybe not specifically by her, but it seems like you've been blessed by her because you've become more beautiful, more handsome. Perhaps you've grown up in a way, and people are kind of curious as to how you've done it. I'm hearing what's your secret. Yeah, like the feeling I get is you've become more beautiful because of the self-love you've given yourself. But also happiness looks beautiful on you, something I'm hearing from spirit. Aphrodite is also a goddess of love. Perhaps you found self-love and actual love, a healthy partnership, or you're about to, and that's what people are curious about if you have that yet. But perhaps you're kind of mysterious with it. Perhaps some of you are in connections, but you're mysterious about it. You don't let people see it until it's come to full fruition, if that makes sense. That's what I feel here, or how you found true love and healed those versions of yourself, and now you're in a healthy relationship for some of you. Um, Aphrodite is also the goddess of, so she's a goddess of love, beauty, but also sensuality. And here we see a woman covering up herself, and here we see a woman kind of freely showing herself. So perhaps you've become more comfortable within your sensuality, or you've healed something there with your body, your self-confidence, and people want to understand how you did it, how you've become more confident in yourself and loved yourself more and not hid yourself anymore in shame. Yeah, I feel that heavily. I feel that heavily. So yeah, people are curious as to how you've become this free spirit, how you've become peaceful. That's what I see here. And what blessings you currently have. So some of you have gotten a lot of blessings since this, and people are curious as to what blessings you've got, but perhaps you keep it a secret. As we see here, you don't show everyone because you're not trying to look for validation from them. But with the Ace of Cups, I see this as like pure new friendships, family relationships, supportive. Like, not if you've left family behind, perhaps you've created a new family, or have friends that are seen as family, if that makes sense. Or yeah, like you've gotten pure new friendships, new connections, soul family connections as blessings, I see here. Or perhaps you've also had blessings come in as a result of the healing you've done, where it's like the universe saw you were once trapped and is now giving you blessings because of justice, if that makes sense. Like almost like justice to your soul. Like you deserve these blessings because of what you went through, and you weren't supposed to go through that. You get what I mean? We also see the lotus flower here. So I see the lotus flower as like a symbol of healing as well. Because the lotus flower starts out as a seed in the dark mud, and then it goes towards the water and then blooms above the water. It's a symbol of healing. Because the darkness is like the darkness we once go through, then it comes above the water. Similar to Palm One's message. So yeah, there's a lot of synchronicities here. Some of you are having more blessings in your career. Some of you are getting recognized and are shining within your career, is something I'm seeing. And I'm seeing heart healing. I'm seeing healing your inner child. I see that you've worked on yourself. You're now leveling up in your life, taking baby steps, focusing on one step at a time. And people are curious as to how you've taken this different path. I feel like you're creating a reality that is in line with your fate and unlocking doors to blessings, more and more blessings, to more and more of being a free spirit, if that makes sense. And you're following your intuition as you go along, and people are curious as to how you have this information, knowledge, this wisdom. They can't understand it. People sometimes want to communicate what they're curious about, but then they don't, like I said before. There's a feeling of people being curious, like when you were in solitude and healing, they were curious about where you were, but now you're getting recognized for the traits that are shining out, and you seem relaxed and at peace now, and you seem in love. You've turned away from those people. I feel like no contact situations. They want to communicate to you and find out how you're doing, but they stop themselves, those people from your past. It seems like you've turned away from communication with them. So like no contact situations. So they're kind of wondering about you and contemplating if they should message you, if you still have feelings for them, or still have those feelings that were once there, which I feel like you are healing. So that is what I'm seeing. And I'm also seeing like I keep getting the energy that you're a free spirit. You're now spontaneous. You're now letting yourself shine out. And that's what people are curious about, how you've come to this place in your life. So that is what I am seeing in your cards, my pile number 2s. I really hope that this reading resonated, and I'm so proud of you for healing these parts of yourself. I know it mustn't have been easy, but you know, I'm proud of you for where you've come in your journey, my pile number 2s. So that was your reading. I really hope that this resonated. If it did, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I can't wait to see you in my next reading. Bye! Hi there, my pile number 3s. If you chose this amethyst crystal, this reading is for you. We're going to be taking a look at what about you makes people curious, and what do they kind of get curious about you. Okay, so we chose magic. I'm gonna go ahead and add the rest of your cards, but before I do, please note that this is a general reading, to only take what resonates and leave the rest. Okay, my pile number 3s. Now for your cards, we have Breaking Free. You know, all 3 piles have similar messages, because pile number 1 and 2 also had like healing from things, breaking free. So if you were drawn to pile number 1 or 2, you know, also go and watch that, because you may find other messages there. But it's interesting how all 3 piles have a common theme or thread, but they have their differences in their own ways. Okay, so we have gratitude. We have friendship. And lastly, for your oracle cards, we have the future. For your tarot cards, we have the 3 of Cups. We have the Well. We have the Strength card. We have the Justice card. And lastly, we have the Empress. Okay, my pile number 3s. Now that we have your cards laid out, I see exactly what about you makes people curious and what they kind of get curious about. So, in terms of, you know, the overall theme with all the piles today of like breaking free from trauma, going towards a new journey and healing, I see that same message for you. I'm not going to go too much in detail into the bad parts, because I see just like one card here and one card here of the past, whereas the rest of the cards are talking about the future and now and the good things that await. Okay, so I will speak about the past like for a little bit, but I think most of it is in the past. Something we don't really want to go down a deep rabbit hole into with the Well card. Cause it may, like, if I talk about your past, we may be here forever, because I feel like it was a long, dark road for you, if that makes sense, that you have already break free from. As we see in this Breaking Free card, it's kind of reminding me of the song that Ariana Grande sings, Break Free. It kind of reminds me of that song. And the octopus on this card, similar to pile 2, where I mentioned an octopus on the card and breaking free from that. So if you are from pile 2, then I guess this is a continuation of the message. However, if you're not from pile 2, then it could just be similarity, synchronicity here. So it kind of reminds me of a dream my friend had the other day, where a octopus was on her and like sucking the life out of her, and she was very worried, very, very worried and anxious in the dream. And then she had to pull this octopus off of her. It wasn't coming off, and someone came to her and put something like oil to take off the octopus. And then it just came off quickly, you know what I mean? And it was gone. So I see this as like you trying for dear life in the past to break free from this, but as you're trying to pull away from it, it clings harder and harder. But perhaps you used something, a method that would allow you to break free from it. I don't know why I'm getting this message. For some of you, the feeling I get here is you were stuck in a situation and someone helped you out. Someone else or God, because oil to me also represents that energy of God. For some of you, it's like God's magic, mysteries, like God's miracles, or an angel's miracle, like the divine helping you out in some way. For some of you, I'm getting the message, like even my stomach hurts in this energy. I don't want to sit too long in this energy. I'm getting the message some of you were in really toxic situations with people that were entitled. Because as I started your reading, I heard a kid outside and said, "Give it to me now." So I take that as a message for your reading, that whoever you moved away from or the environment you moved away from was toxic in some way, didn't have your best interest in mind, just wanted to take from you, suck the life out of you, drain you of your finances, your emotions. Perhaps this was an emotionally volatile environment where the people or the environment didn't care about your feelings or how you felt, your well-being. They were doing things behind your back, lying, gossiping, stealing from you, or taking from you. That's the feeling I get here. And for some of you, like the environment you were in, don't get scared at this message, because I feel like it's a message of the past. So if you don't know about this, then this message is not for you. However, if you do know about this and this did happen in your past, then this message is for you. So some of you were in this environment and this person was actually doing magic on you to keep you stuck in that environment. But there's something here about like either you doing a ritual to get yourself out of the magic that they've done to you, like a return to sender, or perhaps you prayed to God and God's magic helped you out, as we see someone helping her out here with the magic card. Or perhaps it was a situation where you went to someone, they divined, as we see in the future card. They saw that you were being done magic on, like you were like, why can't I leave this situation, this stressful situation? I feel stuck here. And it was a deep well of lies, secrets, is something I see. And perhaps a person did a ritual for you, a cleansing ritual, because here we see her in the water and here we see her at the shore, but like there's water here. And she's flying, she's fluttering away from that energy. So I see it as something has freed you from this, if it was a situation of magic. However, I will take it as like, if it wasn't a situation of magic, I see this as like you breaking free from that energy, God protecting you in some way, giving you a miracle that helps you get away from that situation that once kept you stuck, where those people didn't have your best interest in mind, or that environment didn't have your best interest in mind. It was an environment that made, or people that made you very anxious, you know what I mean, and kind of kept you feeling like life is throwing daggers at you. I feel like this environment or these people were always in conflict with you or always criticizing you, and you left that environment and you left it in the past, and there's this deep well of secrets you left behind you. Spirit is showing me a joke. I don't know what movie it was. I think it was Scary Movie or something. You know those funny scary movies, like from the 2000s, somewhere there. Um, like Scary Movie 1, Scary Movie 2, I can't remember which one it was. But in one of them, there was a woman like in the well, and then like a horror kind of comedy kind of vibe. And like they dropped her in the well, and then they closed up the well, and then she was gone. Something along those lines is what Spirit is showing me. So it's almost like you left the horrors in the past, closed up that well, and walked away from it. Like almost just Spirit joking about it, I guess. And you really had to analyze that situation and why it was so hard to break free from it. But I feel like the divine helped you out in some way, with a miracle here, which is similar to pile number 1 and 2. So that's why I say, if you were drawn to other piles, go and watch to see those messages. But I don't want to spend too long on this energy. I'm just seeing it like a tad bit in your reading. So I feel like if you want to see more about that healing and everything, go watch pile number 1 and 2. But I feel like Spirit wants me to focus more for your pile on now and the future, as we see here. So you've already broken free from that. You've already freed yourself from that, pain, that suffering, that disappointment. Walked away from that well, closed it up. Perhaps you're not going to ever go down that well ever again. You've left it in the past. You've driven away from it, is something Spirit showed me, metaphorically. And I feel like you have gained some sense of awareness of why your past was the way it was, why you felt stuck in that situation. Okay, I'm seeing that. And it's the reason I'm mentioning this is the reason why people get curious about you, because they feel like your past is kind of mysterious, or people from your past feel like you are kind of mysterious now. Because perhaps they don't have any contact with you. All they have is the memories to hold on to, is something I'm seeing within your cards. And I'm kind of picking up the energy that some people from your past have tried to watch you from afar, like on social media, or come to your friends and ask for information on you, or they've gone to actual tarot readers or people that read like crystal balls, people that divine, tried to see if you would be in their future, tried to see what you were up to, because you were too mysterious, not too mysterious, but you weren't posting about your life or telling everyone about your life or in contact with them. So they were kind of intrigued with what's going on in your life right now, and if there's a chance for you in the future, if you'd ever make that decision, and who's in your life right now. So I feel like the people from the past are kind of curious about you now, where you're at, but you're kind of mysterious with where you're at. You don't show them, or you don't speak to them, and now they're curious as to where you're at in your life because you're so mysterious. They're curious as to what decisions you're making right now and who you have as a support group around you. They're curious as to how you broke free from them, because they thought their manipulation tactics would keep you there forever. And they're curious as to how you gain strength from this. So that is what I see there. But I also see people from your past that knew you are curious as to how you broke free from it, that weren't involved in this, but saw the results of it happening to you, or perhaps knew about it or didn't know, I don't know. They saw you broke free from it, gained strength, and they also wonder how. They get curious about how you did that. Um, so I'm feeling like you're quite a mysterious pile. You don't show everyone everything, and there is that energy of people almost wanting to look into your life to see more. Um, and that's what makes people curious about you, because they want to know more, and they want to know more now, like that kid outside. Give it to me now. Like, I'm feeling like even the energy of like maybe a tarot reader tells them, like people from your past, oh, they're doing well, blah, 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 this and this and this. And that's all I see. And they're like, give me more information now. I can't believe you're not telling me more information about this person. And then they're like, this is all I'm seeing. Or they're like, give me information on them that is bad, but like, there's nothing bad about you. You get what I mean? Like something like that. Or like, let's say a tarot reader refuses to do it for them, and then they're like, give it to me now. You have to do this for me. Like that kind of energy. I'm seeing that. So I feel like these people from your past are pretty entitled to your energy, if that makes sense. But like we see in the magic card, she's a mermaid with wings. So she's fluttered, flown away past that energy, created a new path for herself, is something I'm seeing here in your cards. And that's kind of like your energy right now. So yeah, like I said, I see people from your past watching in, being curious about you. But I also see people now and from your past like wondering what happened in your past, almost like curious to know what happened, like we see with the wall card. Curious to know what the situation was and how you broke free from it. And how you gained strength is something I'm seeing, but also how you've healed from that. So that's what I see. There's this feeling of people that are in similar journeys as you, curious as to how you've done it, because they almost like want to have that same kind of support or miracles in their life where they can break free from things in their life, as well as I think friendships or people around you, your support group, curious as to this because they want to support you, if that makes sense. Curious as how you feel right now about the situation, because they want to support you and be almost like your rock, is something I see. So that is what I see like in the beginning part of your reading. Now I'm going to say like the other things I see. So in terms of what people are curious about you and why people are curious about you, like with the magic card, I see it as this kind of energy of like you have a lot of magic within you, my pile number 3s. You're very intuitive, very connected to those realms. I feel like some of you are psychic or intuitive in some way, or your energy is just magical in some type of way. And people wonder how you've got that magic within you. They are curious as to how you're such a magical person, how you spread smiles, laughter, gratitude everywhere you go, even though you've been in a situation that you had to break free from, that kept you stuck for so long. They wonder how you're so magical, how your soul's so magical, how you spread magic everywhere you go. Everything you put work into becomes magical. Just like, what is that thing called? There was a man that everything he touched turned to gold. Oh, it was King Midas. So there's that kind of feeling to you. How you've kind of fluttered away from that past energy, found the magic within your soul and let it shine out. That's the feeling I get here. But also I feel like you're very ethereal souls. There's something about you being very ethereal, magical in some way, and people wonder how you got this quality. They're curious as to what makes you magical, but I feel like it's your soul. Like they're showing me your soul being shimmery, sparkly, with magical rainbows, fairies, gardens in your soul, mermaids in your soul. That kind of energy. Like there's a whole magical world, kingdom in your soul. That's the feeling I get. But people also are curious as to how you are so empathetic and nurturing and kind even after going through such tough situations in your life. How you've kept your heart with you, and how you've stayed in the state of gratitude even after being in dark moments. That's something I'm getting, and like the feeling I'm getting is most people would turn almost cold after being like that, but you have kept your heart open and you've created a sort of emotional balance with stability for yourself where you still stay compassionate for others, even though you've been hurt. You get what I mean? And people are curious because of that, like how you've become that way, how you've stayed that way. And they're curious as to how strong you are, like why you're so strong. Okay? I'm seeing people are curious as to why you're now content and why you're now going with the flow. You're no longer anxious or in that same state you once were. You found your magic and you let it shine out, and you're now content. You go with the flow with life, and you're no longer letting anything hold you down. And people are curious as to how you've become like that. I'm hearing from spirit you were like a diamond made from the pressure, and people wonder how you've become a diamond, if that makes sense. Because all they see now is the diamond, but they never saw the pressure you went through to become that diamond, if that makes sense. All the work you had to do on yourself to become that diamond as well, and all the strength and resilience you had to have to become that diamond. So that is what I'm seeing. People also wonder how you're so empathetic yet so confident in yourself at the same time. How you can be nurturing but also I'm hearing some of you have like this bad bee quality to you. With the Empress card, there's this energy of like you really standing out, really being beautiful, handsome, but at the same time having a beautiful heart. And that is kind of rare to come across. Now I'm hearing that song Rare from Selena Gomez. So people wonder how you're such a rare soul, how your soul is so magical, but yet you also have this physical beauty or handsomeness, even if you don't see it yourself. That's what people are curious about. And like how you're so confident in yourself even after being in situations like that, how you grew your confidence within yourself. People are now curious about how you're so grateful for life even after going through terrible, tough moments, and how you found the fire in your life, the ambition, the kind of drive to go after and create something new within your life. You've taken the key to your life and created something new, a new path for yourself that is full of beauty, is something I'm seeing, full of magical moments. And that's what people are curious about. I see that people are kind of like curious as to who you're going to be in the future, how successful you're going to be, because there's this feeling of people seeing your potential and you being really successful in the future, and also maybe seeing you as successful now, being curious as to how you've attained that type of success in your life, not just career success, but a successful, happy, gratitude-filled life full of magic, you know? People are also curious as to how you've been so consistent towards remaining true to yourself, consistent towards achieving things within your life that you want to fill your life with, if that makes sense. So that is what I'm seeing, like people kind of be curious about. People are also curious as to how you've made the decisions you've come to and why you made those specific decisions. But like I said, I feel like you're quite magical, intuitive, tapped into those higher realms. So there is this sense of trusting the divine with each decision you make, even if you don't know why. And that's why people are curious as to how you do that. Okay, I'm also seeing people are kind of curious as to how you found support, friendships, new connections in your life that are supportive and loving, even though you were in tough environments once before. Or they're curious as to whether you are in those friendships or support groups because, like I said, you're quite mysterious souls, or you don't show everyone everything at once. They're also curious as to how you found like this kind of trust within yourself but others after going through that. Um, but I feel like people are also curious as to why you're so truthful within yourself, why you're so true to yourself, because I feel like you're my pile of people that don't lie, that don't tell white lies or anything like that. Like, you stand in your truth, you set boundaries, you stand in your truth, you stand true to yourself and who you are. You don't let anyone change you or make you something you're not. And people are curious as to how you've become like that. And people are also curious as to how you've grown in your life, how you've attained abundance in your life, or are about to in the future, how you're going to glow up and become even more beautiful and handsome, how you've come to self-love, how you've become so intuitive and wise. That's what people are curious about. And people are curious about your future because they see your potential and they see you kind of growing and at a rapid rate in your life, having a lot of expansion. Spirit is showing me Jupiter energy. So your life is about to be big, and people are curious as to who you are going to be in the future if you've grown at this rapid rate you already have. So people see your potential and they're like, this kind of feeling of pile number threes are going to be like this. No, pile number threes are going to be like this. I see them being like this. Like that kind of energy of people almost rooting for you for the future, if that makes sense. So that is what I see in your reading, my pile number threes. I really hope that this reading resonated. If it did, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I can't wait to see you in my next reading. Bye!